Hi, my name's Mark Connor. I'm a member of the Tree Committee, and I'm here to present Article 33A, which is an amendment to the tree bylaw, and it focuses on major construction and demolition on private sites. The purpose of this bylaw change is to improve and enhance data collection and documentation. The issues and challenges associated with the current bylaw are that there's no detailed, accessible digital record of the tree bylaw activity. It's difficult to determine the effectiveness of the tree bylaw, and it's difficult to confirm compliance because it lacks detailed post-construction documentation. How information is provided now? What you see on your screen is a typical site survey, which shows new construction in terms of a proposed new home and the surrounding site. And on that site, it indicates trees and other geographical information. And what we have to do when we receive this information is use this as the basis of our understanding of how the bylaw will apply to that site. So what you can see here is a series of circles and X's, which are indicating the trees that are existing and will be removed. But that's basically all the information that we get for this process. So it's very limited in terms of graphical information. And it's also very difficult to access in the long term, because this is really just a graphic representation. There is no accessible data that's easily retrieved online. So what we know is it's limited to a pre-construction site survey, which you see here. It's also difficult and time-consuming to interpret and sort this information because, again, it's just a graphic representation on a site plan. Currently, only summary information is reported. So what we will know is how many trees are removed and the total inches removed. That's it. What we don't know is how many trees are retained and the sizes of trees removed and remaining. And finally, no information is machine readable formatted. So here's the type of information we would like to have, and what we need to have a fully implemented and effective tree bylaw. One, we would need all the information about trees on each site to be itemized in machine readable form, pre and post construction tree removal in terms of documentation. And all of this can be achieved using the town's online permit system called Viewpoint. Here's a sample of the tree data sheet that we proposed. So you can see the white sheet here shows a bunch of information in terms of DBH, species, inch setback, removal. All that information is very helpful in terms of understanding how the bylaw is implemented per site and how effective it is over the entire community. On the left-hand column where the numbers are, those numbers would be related to the site survey, which we showed earlier. So we can identify where on the site each tree is located. So to simply summarize, embedding into an online permit application, which this would be, simply formatted spreadsheet so anyone who's applying can easily input the information by using the survey and just plugging in the information. The numbers are keyed to the site survey so you can identify which tree and where it's located. And finally, data inputs are digital, sortable, and accessible. Article 33A, summary. So basically, there's two elements to this article. A is to require the owner of a property at which major construction or demolition is planned to submit itemized detail information, which we just discussed. And that happens in a pre-construction format. So initially, with the submission of the building permit, for all trees over 6 inches DBH or larger on the property, and at post-construction, at the completion of the work at the property, for all remaining trees 6-inch DBH or larger on the property, and for trees planted as mitigation. So what this allows us to do is see what happens at the beginning, what is proposed, and compare it to what happens at the end of the project. So we can see, one, if the tree bylaw was implemented properly, and two, we have a pretty good understanding of how the mitigation occurred and what trees remained and what was removed. So here's just a highlight of the major components of the motion. So C, the owner shall also submit the tree species, if known, location, DBH for all trees on the property, whether or not they are proposed to be removed, and for any trees that are proposed to be removed, the reason for removal and alternatives to removal is considered. So this gives us a pretty good breadth of what's happening on the site in terms of trees. It gives us basic information in terms of location and size, but it also gives us some indication of why these trees are coming down. So maybe we can propose solutions down the road. And then at the end of the process, sort of the post-construction as-built phase, this section D, upon removal of any protected tree, the owner of the property on which the tree is located shall provide information to the town regarding the removal of that tree and the reasons for its removal. The owner shall also provide a plan identifying the location, species, and DBH of any trees so removed, remaining trees, and any trees planted as mitigation pursuant to section 110-8.c. This is a very important component that we're asking for here because this goes to compliance. So the current bylaw kind of tells us what the proposal will be, but the new motion allows us to see if that initial proposal was implemented properly. And if it was, what the solutions were in terms of mitigation. Outcomes. So what we're really trying to figure out and really to try to achieve is an accessible digital knowledge base of the tree bylaw activity. Allow statistical analysis, so we can go back and look both at a specific site, but also as a community at large. Understand the effectiveness of the bylaw and promote compliance, conformity, and systematic application of the bylaw itself. The other piece that will allow is sort of shift the responsibility from the town staff to the applicant in terms of understanding the information that's required and then documenting what occurred at the end of the project. So that's really it in a nutshell. And then I'm going to go to the question section. Thank you very much.